causing chronic migraine condition.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 92% of current users said they wish they talked to their doctor and started Botox sooner. So ask your doctor if Botox is right for you. Learn how AbbVie could help you save on Botox.
If you hate wearing bras, you should try me instead. I'm the Under Outfit wireless bra. Here's what the girls are saying about me.
It's the most comfortable bra I think I've ever tried. It is so soft and it is so fitting. I am so in love with it. It's seriously magical. I don't know how they do it.
It is an absolute must-have. There's nothing poking or prodding.
Look how this padding is built in. Awesome. It is the best.
I'm obsessed. You have to buy these. Like, it'll change your life.
I can ditch my sports bra now. The most comfortable bra I have tried on. I can easily sleep with it. It's like a second skin.
Oh, girl, don't let me get too full of myself. It's all thanks to my amazing design. I'm totally wire-free to give you ultimate, intimate support without poking. My straps are super soft and adjustable, so they don't dig into the shoulders, and the pads are sewn in to stay in place.
It's got adjustable straps. The straps don't dig into the shoulders. It comes with a bra extender, and it doesn't cut into the backpack.
So if you're ready for everyday wire-free comfort with me, without spillage or poking or annoying back fat or shoulder cuts, plus I'm so confident your girls and I will become closest friends forever that you can try me out for 180 days with free return and exchange.
Scan the code. Choose any size and favorite colors. Now, free U.S. shipping over $70. Under Outfit.
In the aftermath of the Red Team's victory, Bree, James, and Chrissy found themselves in yet another pressure test. Honestly, name a pressure test Chrissy wasn't in. With a 45-minute window to make fried calamari from scratch, they started with 6 whole slices of squid, needing to prep them delicately without piercing the inside. The challenge was not only to prep the squid properly, but also maintain a consistent oil temperature. While James had some experience cleaning squid, Chrissy struggled. Shocker, I know. Which got messy real quick.
How do you think that's going to keep you in the competition?
I didn't put lemon juice in my marinara.
Hey, she survived, as she always seems to, only to be at her very worst the next day. During Luca's Teen Choice Challenge, Chrissy was partnered with Jessie, aiming to craft a 3-course meal using the season's most extensive mystery box yet. Right from the start, Chrissy and Jessie struggled to find common ground. Like, when Chrissy confessed how uncomfortable she was working with the crepes, Jessie retorted with a reminder about how Chrissy abandoned the lobster earlier.
Hey, it's just sticking.
And she snapped. Got real violent, too.
I'm going to take this off here and see if I can hurt me.
Chrissy sought refuge in the equipment room to compose herself, leaving Jessie to manage the remaining tasks solo.
I have got to get out of this kitchen right now.
If it wasn't painfully obvious, their 3-course meal paled in comparison to what Luca and Natasha plated, thus landing them in the pressure test.
Why do you always let members in your team take over?
Fair question. Anyway, they were working with chocolate. But finally, Chrissy's efforts fell short compared to Jessie's chocolate lava cake, leading to her elimination from the competition. Geez, about time. But let me get to what you're really here for. After her appearance on MasterChef, Chrissy started offering private chef and catering services and regularly posted recipes on her blog, Rotund Chef. By the way, she's also a breast cancer survivor. Pretty recently, she posted on Instagram saying that she would be taking a break from private chef and catering duties indefinitely to give her body some much-deserved rest. So, I'm kind of conflicted. On one hand, Chrissy was a real piece of work before and during her tenure on the show, but now she seems like she's mellowed out a bunch. Well, I guess it goes to show just how much people are capable of growing. Even bullies. Well, former bullies, I guess. Like Chrissy. So maybe we show people like her a little more compassion, huh? Who knows how much they're capable of growing. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Chrissy's, colorful journey on MasterChef? Get in the comments and let me know. And if from a dish that
I know I am.
Speaking of names for AI, don't
Brett, she don't like me. She just likes all the AI and bugs things.
Royal Nudes. Queen Victoria developed a sophisticated appreciation for art, one that embraced the beauty of the human form more openly than might be expected, especially for a queen. An exhibition showcasing the artworks exchanged between her and Prince Albert unveiled that Victoria's artistic preferences veered towards the more provocative, in contrast to Albert's more reserved taste. She liked it nude, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. She liked getting nude. She liked looking at the nude stuff. That's her thing. Among the pieces that she selected for her husband were paintings rich in nudity, such as William Edward Frost's Una Among the Fauns and Wood Nymphs. That's a personal favorite of mine. Or paintings
I
such
know
as
it is.
The Disarming of Cupid. Victoria commissioned a personal portrait known as the Secret Picture, intended solely for Albert's eyes. No looking, that's it. It's just for this man alone. While its allure might seem odd by today's standards, the portrait's depiction of Victoria reflect the era's sensibilities. They liked it very pale and veiny. If you had a vein back then, oh, Maxim, here we come. Obsession with death. Following Prince Albert's death in 1861, Victoria's grief manifested into an all-out obsession with mourning rituals. She wore black for the remainder of her life and kept Albert's rooms as they were, with fresh clothes laid out daily. Yikes. That's why every time you see Queen Victoria in a textbook, she always looks like Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice. She's wearing all the black stuff, she looks very spooky. She's forever mourning. Queen Victoria's profound mourning for Prince Albert set a trend throughout the Victorian era. Her public display of grief popularized strict mourning protocols and fashion within British society. This included wearing black mourning clothes, using mourning stationery, and observing extended periods of, you guessed it, mourning. We got this all from the Queen of Death herself. Maybe that's why I wear black all the time. Maybe it's because I'm English, Queen Victoria. Maybe that's why. I love death. That's also weird. Hate being pregnant. Despite having 9 children, Queen Victoria was not fond of pregnancy, or even babies for that matter. She described the former as an ordeal and the latter as ugly. Yeah, she just called her babies ugly. That's awesome. I love that. We're expecting quite the ordeal, that is. Her journals candidly express her discomfort and lack of maternal feelings towards her newborns. Now, many believe that Victoria's hatred towards motherhood was the time that it took from her romantic life with Albert. More than fair, not enough day nights, okay? She was an extremely sensual woman who enjoyed the pleasures of marriage, if I can say that, but she kept getting pregnant. Albert needs to learn how to, know what I'm saying? Queen Victoria had to propose to her own husband. How crazy is that? In an era bound by strict protocols, one can only imagine the outrage when Queen Victoria broke norms by proposing to Prince Albert, her cousin, in 1839. Also, yeah, her cousin. We'll get into that later. It's royal tradition that nobody shall propose to a reigning monarch, so in October 1839, Victoria asked Albert for his hand in marriage. She didn't have a royal Tinder or anything like that. Victoria didn't have a lot of options in the love department, okay? They were 17 years old when they first met, and Victoria met the young prince at Kensington Palace. They were put together because Victoria's uncle felt like this could be beneficial to the throne. So yeah, it was arranged from the very beginning. First cousins getting married sounds bizarre, but it's nothing compared to what you're about to hear. Oh boy. Queen Victoria became the first monarch to take up residence in Buckingham Palace in 1837, marking a significant moment in British royal history. Her accession to the throne prompted the move into the newly completed palace, which until then had seen gradual expansions and renovations from a private house into a residence, of course, fit for a queen. Victoria's decision to move into Buckingham Palace was driven by the need for a more modern and spacious royal residence that could accommodate the administrative functions of the monarchy, and of course by growing the royal family. We needed somewhere bougie, right? Somewhere where the Peaky Blinders would gather and have their meetings and smoke inside. Somewhere cool like that. Her move symbolized the palace's official...
So, you've probably seen this weird, flexible tool going viral online. At first, when I saw it, I thought it looked kind of crazy. But after using it just one time, I could not believe the results. It ended up being
residence of the British monarch, a tradition that continues to this very day. Every year on May 24th, we set off fireworks, enjoy a day off, eat like 6 hot dogs. It's a good time up here. It's called Victoria Day. And this weekend tradition started back in 1819, when Victoria was christened at an almost private ceremony. It was small, but, well, it lasted for a while. Victoria's uncle only let a few people come also. This is a very private event. Her name was Alexandrina Victoria, and at the time, the name Victoria was not regal enough. It was of French origin, almost an odd name to have at the time, so when the throne snuck up on her, she was advised to change her name to something more traditional. But, as our calendars tell us today, she said, "Nah, I'm good. I'll keep the name." On May 29th, 1842, Prince Albert was riding with Queen Victoria in their open carriage after attending a Sunday morning service at the Royal Chapel at St. James's Palace. Now, he saw, quote, a little swarthy, ill-looking rascal, end quote, standing outside and pointing a small flintlock weapon in his direction. And he watched as John Francis attempted to fire said weapon, but the weapon failed to fire. Yeah, dodged the bullet, literally. The man then tucked his piece underneath his coat and then disappeared into Green Park. Presumably quite embarrassed. What a failure also, right off the top. But imagine describing somebody as a little swarthy, ill-looking rascal. That's the part that cuts deep. That's an insult right there. We're going to bring that back. In 1840, Queen Victoria made history by being featured on the world's first adhesive postage stamp, known as the penny black. This step was part of a broader postal reform led by Sir Rowland Hill, aiming to make mail services more accessible and efficient across Britain. Buddy, wait until you see email. You're going to shit your pants. Featuring Victoria's profile based on a sketch by William Wyon from when she was 15, the penny black marked a revolution in communication, symbolizing the Queen's role in pioneering modern postal services. She's the face of mail. Imagine being the face of the postal system. That's amazing. Her image on the stamp underscores the monarchy's endorsement of this groundbreaking public service. Kensington System. To shape the future monarch, Queen Victoria's mother and Sir John Conroy devised the Kensington System. This was a terrible time. This was a terrible idea. This was a strict protocol restricting Victoria's independence and ensuring her constant surveillance. Yeah, horrible. This meant that Victoria was never allowed to be alone. Her mother even shared her bedroom, and she couldn't navigate stairs unaided. Talk about clinging. Despite such close watch, Victoria experienced profound isolation, barred from connecting with her royal peers or engaging with other children. It's just being locked away in a tower at that point. The intent behind this brutal control was to dominate and influence Victoria upon her ascension to the throne. However, they didn't account for her strong spirit and determination, because upon turning 18, Victoria's initial demands were for an hour alone and a personal bedroom, marking her first steps towards independence. Imagine that, you're a queen and you're like, hey, can I have an hour alone? Maybe just one a day? That'd be cool. Thanks so much. Dolls for friends. Deprived of the company of other children growing up, young Victoria found solace and companionship in her collection of dolls. Creepy, but it makes sense. It is estimated that she once owned hundreds, with 132 surviving to this day. And she engaged in play with them all up until the age of 14. Me too. Actually 15, I think it was. A little bit later than usual. While the dolls themselves were simple in design, Victoria lavished them with elaborate costumes that she crafted herself by hand. How amazing is that? Utilizing luxurious materials like fine silk, delicate lace, and even miniature jewels, she transformed all of these dolls into figures of distinction. They got treated better than the people of England. She's like, and you get a shirt. How fun is that? They were arrayed as members of the royal court, including one fashioned after Queen Elizabeth I, as well as characters from popular plays, operas, and ballets, reflecting the creativity and imagination of the future queen. Yeah, I had like 2 Batmans growing up, and they never got along. Those guys, they didn't sort it out. Not at all. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. We'll see you next time on Bumblebee. Peace. And the disarming of Cupid, which is also a... Oh, actually, Albert needs to learn how to... Know what I'm saying? Is that inappropriate, just doing this? I don't know what that is. By more modern and spacious. First stamp.
An all-time high. Beginning with a small step. He got with a friend.